Hello everyone and welcome back to Plum Figgy. This is Tammy. It is July 17th. Our prompt for today is go to palette. So, interestingly, what palette I chose actually is definitely not my go-to palette. It just kind of took on a life of its own, honestly. So, when I was thinking about this prompt, I was trying to think of what my go-to palette really even is, and I don't know that I have one. Maybe you guys can disagree with me on that. I don't know. It's funny. I can very clearly tell you what certain different YouTubers or junk journalers go-to palettes are, but my own, I don't know that I recognize that in my own work. I don't know. I feel like my palette is whatever it is that I'm working with that day. So, yeah, I don't know. So this one, I just decided to go looking for some papers, background papers that I liked. And the first one I found was that yellowish one, that's the vellum on the left there. And then I found this rice paper that I'm, sorry. Oliver's jumping into boxes. And then I found that rice paper and then this kind of brown and burgundy with hints of yellows floral. And so I thought, well, okay, well, this would definitely make a nice palette. I guess if I was going to say one thing about my palette, I definitely like to use the brown packaging paper. So I knew I wanted to incorporate that somehow into my collage today. But yeah, then I just basically kind of came up with different papers that I thought worked well with the initial papers that I chose. Of course, I had to get some music paper in there somewhere. And then some antique book page. This one, actually, the white one that I just laid down, is a little bit different from the rest of the palette, and at first I wasn't sure if I should put it on, but then I decided no, go for it. There's a reason why you grabbed it initially, so just go for it. And so yeah, so I'm just basically creating a base layer, trying to make sure that my most important pieces, colors, are represented at least twice somewhere on the page. And just basically filling in all the white spaces. And yeah, trying to make it not look forced, I guess. So I've got my base layers down. Now I'm looking through some ephemera that I pulled out to find bits and pieces that are in this same color palette. Really pulling out neutrals. And then I thought, oh, I need to bring in a bit more pink, dusty pink color, which kind of that last ticket was kind of the perfect color, really. I wanted to incorporate some stamps if I could, but then those stamps weren't quite the right kind of stamps. They were all like wildlife and stuff, so not quite right for this particular collage. And so yeah, so now I'm just gonna add basically kind of a second layer, sort of ephemera, and just create more interest, really. And then at this point I was like, oh, I should probably ink around those edges. So I went ahead and inked around the edges and tried to make it a little bit more distressed looking. And I think that really helped, actually. Okay, so now for the main focal point. I have this set of ephemera. It's K & Company, and Susan Wright is the artist. It's really pretty. It's kind of like watercolor is kind of my take on it, but maybe not. I don't know. It's just a really different style, and I really like it. But I knew that I would be able to find some really great focal points for this particular collage in those colors, so I pulled that out. And it's really interesting. In the end, this spread ended up being very red and yellow, which I would say is basically the opposite of my go-to palette, which is really weird. I mean, I really liked the original colors that I pulled out, and I should have known, you know, obviously it's gonna turn red and yellow, but my go-to palette normally would be a softer, more muted colors, more cool tones, not warm tones. So it's really interesting how this collage kind of took on a life of its own at the end. But in the end, I really enjoy it. And I'm glad that I kept that white flower. It really helped to offset that other piece of white that I had glued down on the background earlier. And it kind of killed me, but that ticket that I just covered with the white flower said Led Zeppelin on it. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have covered that up. I should have kept that. Oh, well. That's my music right there. But I know it's there. I'll remember that it's there, and obviously we have a video recording of it. But yeah, sunflowers are not my favorite flower. But in this particular spread, it just made sense. So I just went with it. And yeah, reds and yellows, I guess, is what this palette ended up being. But yep, so gonna end up with the little butterfly there, and this one will be all done. So I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me today. I should probably do another collage another day with my actual go-to palette, which is so funny. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.